Technical question. This one pack of material that we got, I mean, here's calls by agency, Covington PD. On every one of them, you see sheriff, and the receive time is exactly the same. Any call that goes into y'all's 911, does it go through the sheriff's department also?
He's looking at the call log.
Yeah, we got confused about.
Depends on which tower it hits. I mean, we could get a call depending on the cell tower.
It should all go in at the time of the call.
Yeah.
Say that again.
It should all be recorded at the time of the call. It should be logged at the time of the call.
But it's like you're notifying, here's one from Madison Avenue. It went into the police department because it was in the city, but there's also a sheriff here. And what time they cleared, what time they were called. My question is, does every...
Call go out to everyone?
Yes, that's my question.
No.
No.
It's not.
They have their channel, we have our channel, but
You can hear each
you
other.
can hear each other, can monitor
So, you know,
each other.
the issue can be, because, you know, the jail is downtown,
Right.
so they hear something and they're nearby, as a professional courtesy, they're checking to make sure the guys
They're back-
got everything,
they're
you know,
backing
they're backing each other up, making
Right.
sure, you know, everything's under control.
And a lot of those calls where both of them are there, it's not a requested assistance. It's just
the professional courtesy.
professional courtesy.
Yeah, the guys. That's what we don't
Yeah,
want.
we
We
don't
don't
want-
want these
we
guys
don't
not
want to
working
deter
together.
that.
They do not want that, because that will be a disaster. And, you know,
Correct, because I mean, you also have a large coverage area, so you
Right.
want to be able to say, hey, can I get a backup as well?
right.
That's the problem I got.
But we have state
How
police out
how
in
do we
county.
ask the sheriff not to do law enforcement in the city? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
he's elected by everybody there. I mean, if you run your campaign, vote for me, but I won't do law enforcement for you unless somebody...
He's elected to be the sheriff of the city of Covington. A sheriff's responsibilities are courts and jails in a lot of areas. It doesn't have law enforcement. We have our own law enforcement.
I'm all three.
He's all
It's a
three.
unique
But if you
position.
go to, was it Roanoke County, I think the sheriff does jails,
That's correct.
Civil process.
civil process.
And he's involved in a little bit of DARE, I believe.
But no
or
law
SR
enforcement.
SRO maybe.
I mean, it's the
SRO.
same as City of Richmond and
Right.
Henrico County as well.
But
Roanoke
that
County-
city has their
Roanoke
own.
County has its own police department.
That city has their
It
own,
is.
that city has their own, and that county has their own police department.
Right.
And they're funding not only a police department, they're funding a
Sheriff's.
jail, sheriff's office also.
Is there
What the
not,
comp board does not reimburse, Roanoke County is on the hook
Yes.
for that jail.
Right.
Yes.
Which he
That's right.
knows real well,
Yes, sir.
plus that police department that's funded by those
But
county
we're not
residents
talking
and
about the
taxpayers.
jail costs, we're talking about the law enforcement costs.
I know, we try not to, but all this stuff is, I'm in the middle of all this stuff.
No, I know you are. I know you
Well,
are.
like Buena Vista, they, the
Right.
a little similar. The sheriff of Buena Vista is elected by the people of Buena Vista only, and he only has courts.
Exactly.
And then he have jails because
He
we
just
have
does
regional
process,
jail.
yeah, he'll do transports or something.
Transports
Civil process.
and
Yeah.
court security and civil process. That's
But
all he does.
They're a city of the first class,
That is correct. We are,
City of
Covington is the
second-
city of the second class,
Which-
like Lexington.
which
And
is
in
the sheriff's
Lexington,
sheriff.
Right.
My understanding from Lexington is that they pay a portion of the sheriff's salary, that's it. I might be wrong on that, but that's what I found out.
And there are several places that pay a portion of the sheriff's salary and there's no law enforcement to pay. They have their own police department.
And because Lexington has its own police
Rockingham,
department.
Rockingham Harrisonburg splits the entire
Yeah,
sheriff's
it's
department.
both ways. There's no-
Percentage-wise, there's no
there's no standard
across the
model
state.
for how
Right.
It's
costs are
subject to
shared or
local negotiation.
allocated.
So you have models like
Which
we have here.
hence leads us to
Or
the
you-
conundrum we're in, yeah.
Well, like Chris, it leaves you to the point where y'all can reach an agreement here that
And we're
fits
not
what you
bound by
wanna do.
anything.
Right.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And we need to look at the jail agreement to determine, is this a regional jail or is it a county jail? It's supposed to be a regional jail. If it's a regional jail, it should have a regional jail board that we don't have, I don't think.
There is that model out there. My understanding at that time, that's not what the county or city wanted at that
Yeah.
time, because
That's
a
true.
regional
Okay.
jail authority, actually those employees will probably be better compensated than what under the COM
Ooh, don't
board
say that.
employee. Well, I'm just being real.
Your cost might actually
Yeah.
increase.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
The
sure if we
operating
look at a
and
jail
especially
agreement, our
personnel.
costs will increase,
Actually,
Correct.
which
they-
will bring the county's costs down. And I'm sure everybody
Yeah.
will be in the county's will be happy about their costs coming down.
Let me ask a question.
And then the only way that was done and put under a sheriff, they give a sheriff $1,000 to basically be over the regional jail.
Let me ask a question to you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Focusing simply on law enforcement, let's not muddle up right now with the jail. We can talk about that later, because that's a whole different ballgame. When you're talking about services you provide, and let's talk about actual services that have a more significant price tag. You know, if you're driving by me and I got somebody pulled over on Craig, it's really not going to cost you a whole lot to stop and say, hey, you okay? But you're looking at ERT that has more of a price tag. K9, Drug Task Force. Can we come up with a list of those before the next meeting of the ones that have those more heftier price tags? and
Specialized
stuff? The
services.
specialized services are really the areas that we need to focus on.
Crime scene, you know,
You know,
you just got a crime scene guy, but I don't think he's worked actual over the, how many years? I
Some
mean,
of the,
it's-
some of the things we need to look at right now, in my opinion, we need to look at those areas that have that significant price tag and how much we're requesting
Utilizing it.
that, and then come up with that formula to figure out, not as much for the time when you stop if you're just driving by,
agree with
but
that.
those higher, I think that. would that
That's
be-
really what we
would
should
that be
look at to
fair, what we should
offset
look at
Yeah.
for
your
next month?
budget
But
need.
also, while that guy's out serving that paper, he see a crime committed, he has the
He
authority.
has the obligation
the
to
authority
actually
because
stop.
he has the authority to enforce the law inside
But
the city of
you're-
Clifton, where before in Clifton Forge, when Clifton Forge was
Had
a
their own-
city,
yeah.
they had
It's like
their own.
if
so
he's
they were
serving a
not
paper
allowed
and he
to do
sees
it.
a B&E in progress, his deputy has the obligation, you know,
But
his
at
duty
this
down to
point,
stop.
before next
Yes,
month,
it
can we
will.
start, can we get maybe a list of those things that have the bigger ticket to where we can start looking and saying, okay, this is what we're really
Yeah, but how
spending
far
money.
back? Because a lot of this goes back to 3 and 4 and 5 years in our CAD system, because, or do you have like those murders that we had 2 crime scene process guys and you all didn't?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, to go out and process a crime scene, I mean, or we,
Do we
Or
want
do we
to,
take it from here forward?
yeah.
I mean,
Or
if
do we wanna
you
just
go
look at
start
the last
looking at that
year?
type of thing, you can start picking all kinds of that crap out of peppers. So
Yeah.
do we go to that extent, or do we
Yeah.
start from here and this is where we move forward?
'Cause
But I
that-
think I think we need to identify, we keep talking
Right.
about the things that are costing
Right.
money, but I think if we had a list, and I would
Right.
hope a month would be sufficient to present, okay, this is the list of things that have that price tag, this is what we provide to you all, and then we go from there and say, okay, how are we going to fund that?
I got you.
And then we pick up the little
Right.
pieces elsewhere with, you know, covering a call in the city,
Right.
that type of thing. If we keep it simple, we build from there. I think we're getting a little too far
into the
here.
weeds?
That's what I
We're
think
getting
the
a little
main
too
thing
far
is,
here.
like, people don't understand. And then I don't expect you guys, I don't expect these guys to understand. I have to inform them, my board even. I can't expect you to understand everything about law enforcement. I don't understand everything about journalism that you deal with. But there are, those items that you're talking about are, you know, specialized training items, like to go to that academy. I mean, you're looking at Forensic Science Academy, which you guys just had one. We had 2. Now we lost one. Now we're going to have to try to replace it. You're looking at $3,000 or so just for the room and board, because the state's not paying that. So you have to put a guy up for 9 weeks, and then you have to pay, you know, their salary while they're there in training, and then their meals. So you're looking at, you know, $6,000 or $7,000, which that's a lot of money
You
to have that
had
specialized.
2 and you lost none.
I lost one.
We had none and we got 1.
You had one, but he never
Didn't
process
process.
any
Okay.
crime scene.
But we've
which is
got
your
one now
previous
that
can.
lieutenant.
So,
Right.
you know, he might need.
You have one now, but
But
that's
what I was
only one
getting to,
guy.
can
That's only one.
those 2 guys, one of your
together?
guys and one of our guys work together?
Oh, yeah.
And eliminate the cost
Yeah.
of having to create another person qualified to do
Well,
it?
the problem's gonna be is, are both of those guys gonna be available? You know what I'm saying?
And are we doing city and county? You get what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Because
is our
then-
city guy
Be a
gonna
shared
be?
service.
So I think again, it
Well,
goes back
something
to,
like
we
that.
need sort of, I think we need to look at the specialized services and come up with those And then, I don't know, you were saying a month, if I understood.
I was thinking, about
So,
this
but
time,
in a
by the
month, I
time
don't
we meet
know.
the next time.
We
and I
could
would
probably,
assume a month.
I don't know if in a month though, are you looking at to have a data of counts or just a list of the
Just
services?
basically a list of the services
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
Let's not get too complicated
Okay.
on this. Just,
Right.
Agreed.
let's work on the list right now of what is the most cost prohibitive areas that you provide for us and what is a realistic expectation of that service being provided to us, to where maybe we can start coming up with that figure or that percentage or that
And
formula.
it's,
Yeah, I mean, I had.
it's things that you
Right.
do
That we
in the
don't know.
city that we don't
know.
have anybody.
And people don't know.
And you know what we might want to look at is saying then we're going to just have sheriff primarily do those, and that's why then we'll have funding formula for it, and we're not going to focus
Right.
on that within our PD. So then it's not that we have duplicative services that we're over funding different areas. So then there truly is the shared service.
Right.
Because we work together on all these things, our guys, my administrative staff, that boots on the ground, those guys always work together. That's never gonna change.
Yeah, I've not
That's
heard
never gonna
anything
change.
negative about, you know, the PD force
Right.
of Covington interacting with your staff. Everyone,
Yeah.
you know, says that everyone works really well together professionally,
think
that
it's
they're
just-
able to call on y'all when needed. They stop for y'all, y'all stop for them. So by far, we've got the good organizational camaraderie between the two entities, and so that's important. We don't want to lose
Yeah.
that.
I mean, there's nobody sitting at this table that wants this worked out more than I do. I spent 22 years over there at that police department also, and 34 years in this county.
Well, I want it
in
worked
this county-
out.
In this county. Yeah, but nobody more than me.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 34 years, I'm on 34th year in this county.
You
When
have
I was
both
still
sides
well
of it.
behind the years at age 21, you know, that I was out here. So there's nobody here that wants this worked out.
So do you think by the next meeting, you can compile that list for us? And then maybe look at
A list of.
a list of, you know, like I said, I don't know them all.
High-cost shared
High-cost shared services, ERT, Drug Task Force, K-9, those type of things
Crime
that
scene stuff.
have more of a price tag than your typical stopping and checking on an officer.
Right.
And then we look at that and say, okay, how much do we realistically use that in a year? Do we call the ERT 10 times in a year historically, or do we call for the K-9? You know, we got this one that showed 5, you know, and start looking at those numbers and see what is realistic.
Yeah, I have one that shows like
I would
14
just
times.
Say, if you're gonna look at those as shared services, you can't focus on a
Count.
use.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really the
Because
cost of the service.
Training their
I mean, the dog costs.
equipment.
What does it cost annually to
Percentage
support the
of
service?
So yeah, we would be
Well, then let's
shifting our
look at
focus
those
on the
first.
support
You
of
think
the
that's
service.
realistic that you can have that for us by the next meeting?
Yeah, we can give you, we should be able to work on that.
At least give us a starting point, may not
Yeah. Do
be.
you want are you saying a dollar figure with that, or is like, you want?
No, we just want the
No,
list of
we
your
just need a-
specialized high-level
yeah.
services.
I don't know how you can come up with a dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
a
would
dollar,
work.
you know, like.
That's the end
Our
goal
biggest
that we
thing right
need
now is
to.
understanding and getting educated
Right.
from you on
Exactly.
what those services
I agree.
are.
I agree.
And I don't want to get this too rushed. I don't want to be meeting for the next year and a
I
half,
got
but I
you.
also think that
Right.
we need educated on our part as to what these high-cost services are that you provide.
Right.
And I think if we start with that the next meeting, that's a good place to educate us to where we look at, okay, where are we going from here?
Right. I understand.
And I mean, in between time prior to the next meeting is the expectation also that at least the two finance heads meet to discuss
Yeah.
at least a draft process. I don't know if John and I will have the ability to formally approve it or, you know, all of that by the next meeting, that just depends. But I think we can at least have it that they meet, because that might take more than one meeting for them. And also it's, you know, David learning their process, the county learning our process to figure out how we can better communicate that. So that might be a couple meetings on their end. So I think is that one of the goals as well? It's at least for the two of them to be able to report out on the progress they make with that. You good with that, David?
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't want to overcommit you. I'm just speaking for you.
Ours is simple.
Yes, but you know, it's the idea of, you
The way
know,
we're built, they have the line item portion, and we only have the departmental portion
Correct.
for our budget, so it's nothing for Suzanne to have to pick up. So if you can put your format in Excel or convert it or something, we'll be good to go. We'll discuss it, because
We have some line item disparities related to revenues that John and Mr. Goodman and Suzanne and myself had already identified that we were going to work on prior to next fiscal year, which would in turn make the budget process smoother. So, yeah, we're good with that. We'll meet and Suzanne will report back.
Wait, what?
Collaboratively, y'all will report back.
Nice try.
When do we want to meet again?
Thank you, David.
Well, it said a month.
Well, that's what we did last time, to give time to get all this information together. Is a month too long, too soon?
I think a month is adequate time.
Yeah, it should be.
Because they're gonna have to have some meetings and work stuff.
I thought a month was doable.
Yeah, that should be
Who's got-
fine. That should be
It
fine.
looks like the 24th of September would be 4 weeks from
That's
today.
right after Columbus Day, so remember.
Oh, that's
I don't know if
10th through the 12th.
Is that not, oh, I'm getting my days off.
You're involved.
Look, don't ask me about a calendar right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna refrain. So that's a Tuesday.
I may have a conflict that night. Y'all feel free to proceed.
I can't do without you.
I'll make
24th?
sure the tables are set up and the water bottles.
September 24th, is that it?
23rd, 24th, fine.
What do you got, John? You got to say you can't do it.
The
I
Monday?
may have, I may be a single parent, so. Cody might be Cody will be out of town.
So do we need to
Unless
do
you want
it
to.
earlier in the week or later? in the
Bring
week?
the girls, they
One of
don't.
them would be okay, one of them may.
Bring them.
David and I got
One of them
social
might make
service
it
meeting on
interesting.
You bring, I'll go outside and play with them while y'all conduct the meeting. Bring a basketball.
We could,
Yeah, I definitely think it's important we involve all
could we
parties.
do the 25th instead? Well, that wouldn't make any
No,
difference.
that would, yeah.
Then would that make a
I could do the
difference?
25th.
Would the 25th work?
25th is fine.
Wednesday?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
That's fine.
Let's just
Sorry,
do that,
church.
do that at 7,
At 7?
Apologize.
6.
6, okay.
6 good with everybody, or?
6 works.
And we're gonna still do it here, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll just remember to get on the highway.
All right, we all good with that? All right, motion to adjourn.
Ready to go then?
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, well.